So I came across this tweet that says John Cena became everything he called The Rock out for, and Roman Reigns became everything he despised about Brock Lesnar. It's crazy how life works. And it got me to start thinking of other wrestlers who went against their word, the likes of Cody Rhodes and more recently CM Punk. I then began to ask a simple question. Are these wrestlers hypocrites? Well, let's find out.
When you feuded with The Rock,
yes,
you stated that the reason you were upset with him was because he left for Hollywood.
Yes.
Some people feel like you've done the same thing.
That's a great
How
perspective.
do you respond to that?
You're right. When you say, people now see I've become who I despised, and I see that perspective and I understand that. And it's very difficult for people who are all into the WWE universe to see anything else that goes on but here. But we all have our own struggle. We all live our own lives, and it was a great learning experience for my mistake with that feud with The Rock.
Somebody asked me the other day. They said, like, well, would you go back? And the answer is pretty much definitely become, I don't think so. And not because
could you?
Not because I don't like WWE or I don't like WrestleMania or I don't like money or I don't like the big production, because I am literally now incapable of taking direction. Nah. If you told me you're going to write something for me, no. If you told me you're going to produce something, no.
I think I'm going to get away from absolutes because I was the king of absolutes for the last 6 years, and a lot of them coming back to bite me in the ass. So, which is fine. That's so good. We change our minds. We change stuff like that.
You were the chosen one. It was said that you would destroy this and not join them.
Brock Lesnar's not here tonight because he doesn't respect me. He doesn't respect any of you, and he doesn't respect anybody in that locker room. And I'm sick of it. We're all sick of it. Every single week, me and them boys run across this world and we bust our ass. And Brock just shows up whenever he wants to, when the money's right or the city's right. But we don't care. It doesn't matter how many people show up, how big the town is, I'll be there. Because I said I'll be there.
I think if anything doesn't serve you anymore, I think you need to get out.
Yeah.
It was a bad relationship, and I got out. And since I've gotten out, I've grown as a person. I'm happy now.
If you all try to understand that I was never going to get healthy physically, mentally, spiritually, or emotionally, staying in the same place that got me sick in the first place.
Do you think there's ever a chance we'll see you back in a squared circle?
No.
Never?
No.
Wow.
Never, ever. Never, ever, ever. August 13th, 2005, I left professional wrestling. I'm home because this is where I belong. This is home, and I've been gone for 10 years.
So, are they hypocrites? Yes. Is it a bad thing? No. Why? Well, if we stop treating wrestlers like larger-than-life superstars and actually treat them as humans, we'll realize that they've gone through a change. Yes, once upon a time they believed in a certain perspective about themselves and their careers, but throughout the years they've grown up, matured, and went through experiences that changed that perspective. And that change is what made them choose a different career path that fans may or may not agree with. But at the end of the day, it was their journey that led them to the decisions that they've made. And these wrestlers that I've listed are not the only ones that have gone through this change. Chris Jericho famously said that he would never work for anybody that's not Vince McMahon until New Japan knocked on his door, AEW knocked on his door, and next thing you know, he's working for somebody who's not Mr. McMahon. Ultimate Warrior and Vince had a terrible breakup and swore to never work with each other ever again. And years later, we see Ultimate Warrior in WWE. Bret Hart, the Montreal Screwjob, one of the biggest thing that happened back in the days. He said he'll never work with Vince McMahon. What happened? We saw Bret in the WWE. Eric Bischoff, Vince McMahon's biggest competitor. He did everything to bring down WWF. But what happened? WCW died. And next thing you know, you see Eric Bischoff working for Vince McMahon. And look at what Jeff Jarrett did. He left WWE, started his own promotion, and years later, we see him in WWE. So these are things that happen all the time. In wrestling, you can never say never. There was a time when John Cena thought that he would wrestle for the WWE until he's no longer able to move. There was a time when he thought that The Rock was a Hollywood sellout who didn't care about the business, until Hollywood came knocking and they told him, you'll be on the big screen, you'll earn millions of dollars, you won't have to put your body at risk because we've got stunt doubles and visual effects, and you will work a light schedule. To someone like John Cena, that was obviously very enticing, because what is there for a wrestler who can no longer wrestle anymore? To be a coach or a producer for the WWE? That was never gonna work for John Cena. So at that moment, when Hollywood came knocking, John Cena finally realized why The Rock left WWE for Hollywood. And I mean, WWE was already grooming him to become a big action star by making him star in their own films like The Marine. There was a time when Roman Reigns was happy to work a full schedule, SmackDown, Raw, pay-per-views and live shows. But then his cancer came back and he had to beat cancer again for the second time in his life. That shifted his perspective. It was no longer about entertaining WWE fans, but to be there for his family, and COVID did not help. Because at the end of the day, Roman Reigns is a husband and a father to 5 kids, which is when he began to understand Brock Lesnar, that he was a big draw, was making the company money and didn't need to be there every week. And that's when he became a part-time champion. There was a time when Cody Rhodes was angry at the WWE and wanted to leave and never come back because they treated him as a mid-card wrestler, and to make things worse, they turned him into Stardust. So he had to leave and establish himself in the independent scene, meet the Young Bucks, set up All In, meet with the Khans, create All Elite Wrestling, and become an EVP whilst being a wrestler. But over the years, he went through a shift in perspective.
It's no one's dream to be an executive. It's pretty cool for a minute, and then you get blamed for everything, and which that's part of it. It's not your dream. Everyone wants to be a wrestler. The dream is they're putting the belt on in their underwear. That's the dream, and I locked myself out of that because I didn't want to upset fans and do that, and they still got pissed. So I'm thinking, oh well, sorry, I locked myself out of the main title picture. So around that, I had told myself I didn't want to be a gatekeeper wrestler. I didn't just want to be, new debut, Cody program, new debut, Cody program. I didn't want to be that. So that around that time I started thinking, what would it be? It would be different. It would probably be what's best for the whole business to do this. And maybe it was, maybe it was. I think it's best for everything to do this and free up some of the real estate. I mean, they hired like 15 guys with what was available at the time, so that's good.
So when the time came, WWE made him a better offer and he went back. And finally, CM Punk. Here's what I'll say about CM Punk. I was happy when he came back into wrestling, and I was highly disappointed when he embarrassed his boss in front of the world. And I know what people are gonna say, he would have never done that if Vince was in charge. You guys seem to have forgotten this moment. So what that shows is that when you give somebody too much power, they will disrespect you. They gave CM Punk too much power. And I think it's a good thing that he went back to the WWE because Triple H can keep him on a tight leash. Now, CM Punk never wanted to go back into wrestling, and he probably never thought he'd go back to WWE. But the facts remain the same. Without AEW, there is no CM Punk coming back into wrestling. Without getting fired from AEW, there is no CM Punk going back to the WWE. Wrestling can be quite surprising. Anything can happen. Never say never. But also, as fans, we shouldn't be attacking the wrestlers for the decisions that they make that affect their lives and their families. No, we should celebrate them because at the end of the day, they're here to entertain us. And that's my 53 cents.